Hard times create strong men. Strong men create good times create weak men, and weak men create hard times.
And there's your cycle.
That's exactly where we're at.
Assalamu alaikum, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Real Talk, Deen and Dunya. I am one of your hosts, Mustafa Talib.
And I'm one of your hosts, Abdurrahman Talib.
And I'm one of your hosts, Amal Fayed.
And we want to obviously say welcome back to the new year. We're on a little hiatus, but that's okay. As you can see, we've upgraded the set.
Yeah.
We're very happy about it. A lot of hours and effort put into that.
Allah take it off you.
And also, we want to say to our non-Muslim viewers, peace be upon you all. Always want to include everybody who watches. And I'm going to throw it over to Abdurrahman to introduce our special guest today.
Yes, so we're very happy to be joined by Amal Fayed. She is an LPC, which is a licensed professional counselor. She's actually working on a certificate in Islamic studies from the Islamic Seminary of America.
MashaAllah.
So we're very happy to have you join us today.
Joining us.
Yep, thanks for having me. Exciting.
And today's episode is going to be titled Doofus Dads.
So
why?
Why? So this happened actually on maybe the last visit to Arizona when we came to visit you guys, or maybe it was the time before that. We were having some conversation, whatever it was, and you made a comment in passing because I made a reference to Everybody Loves Raymond, and she said, I don't know if you ever noticed this about this particular character, but he kind of has this tendency to, do certain things a certain way or whatever, and he's kind of incompetent. And I was like, when she said that word, it kind of like it sparked something.
All sitcom dads.
And so then I started seeing a pattern in all the different ones that we've ever watched growing up, going back to Home Improvement,
Married with Children.
Right. The dad's just like this whatever kind of incompetent whatever. And so that's why we wanted to have you come on and just talk about that and how's that shaping family dynamics and how's that affecting communities across the globe, and how should we respond to something like that given our faith tradition?
And here's something else I want to put into the mix is that you mentioned Everybody Loves Raymond. That show started in 1996, right? When you hear about behind the scenes and the efforts that what it went into the script writing, no joke, every single episode is based on either Ray Romano's or one of the writers' real life experience, right?
So they don't have to get too imaginative with the Doofus dad.
Correct. It was already in their lives. It has already been produced. The manifestation of the messaging of the Doofus dad, right? It already manifested itself in real life. And then what was happening on ELR was already, was just a projection of, that was art imitating life. We're already past that, right? Where the life imitating art was before that point, has been happening before, with TV shows and movies where the dad is just one big incompetent goofball.
And not to say that he's not loving or doesn't care about his family, because he does.
Right.
He's never shown as in I don't care about this. In fact, you can also say that you see the glimpses of him being overprotective and maybe even this is my family or whatever. But at the same time though, with basic things, he's not all there. He's very very lackluster and so
distant maybe, or lazy, or
just trying to find ways to get out of responsibilities in certain personalities or certain sitcoms.
Mm-hmm.
I think when we were talking, I think the moment that you had that shock moment, it wasn't just Everybody Loves Raymond. It was, but if you notice, other shows that were coming out from that time, like Two and a Half Men, King of Queens is the biggest one.
Yeah. He was never a father, though, until the very last episode where they adopted. But anyway.
But still, it's that Doofus husband.
The leader, the leadership, whatever.
The role of the leader of the house, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Where they're just incompetent or...
They're escaping responsibility. They don't want the responsibility. They're acting like they don't want the responsibility. They're trying to pawn off the responsibility.
Right. So, it's like weaponized incompetence. Absolutely. Weaponized incompetence. Absolutely.
So a lot of questions.
Yes.
If you want to try to break it down, all the different aspects and try to address them. So
after you guys asked me to think about this a little bit and do it as an official thing, not just a passing conversation, I looked a little bit into it and did read some research that was done on it.
Okay.
And they went back and looked at sitcoms that were set in the 1950s, and they compared those two shows, like from the 1950s
So I
to
Love Lucy, The Honeymooners,
The Brady Bunch.
yes,
That was
Brady Bunch was
Maybe a
like
little
in the-
later.
That was much later.
Later.
Leave It to Beaver.
So I'm
Andy
not.
Griffith? No?
Yeah, I
Andy
don't know
Griffith's
the
show.
setting, but basically 1950s is kind of where they started seeing this little bit of a shift. 1950 before 1950s, the role of like the masculine man was kind of still shown in the movies. If you think even like black and white movies, where like the macho man, the super masculine man, and whatnot in all those movies, and then the show started happening 1950s. There was this start of this change where the man is kind of a bit of a doofus. The man tries to get out of responsibilities a little bit, but it's not as much as we start seeing in the late 80s, beginning in the 90s.
Married with Children.
Right.
The Simpsons.
Full House.
The Simpsons, you have South Park, you've got even, I'm trying to think, when I was doing the research, they were looking at also like trying to see families of color to see if
Family Matters.
Family Matters and my gosh, Fresh Prince.
Oh, okay.
Before that, like The Good Times.
Right.
And the Sanford and Son.
Jefferson's,
which was a spinoff of All in the Family.
So all of those, the role of the man seemed to be like that family oriented, taking care of the family, but they're slowly kind of like chipping away at that respected and respectful father figure.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Right. So you start seeing now the man is kind of the butt of all jokes in most of the sitcoms, starting in like the late 80s, beginning of the 90s. And as we go further in the 90s, even the family dynamics are kind of changing. And what they were saying is that sitcoms had to continue to be relevant to the society.
Mm-hmm.
So you start seeing, like your, single households, or even later on, like they start adding like your gay couples and whatnot. And the family dynamics start changing.
Mm-hmm.
But the major change that they start finding is this father figure that doesn't have respect, that is not respected, nor is he respectful. And that's kind of like what their focus was on. And they did this study on, like I said, comparing the sitcoms of the 50s and the sitcoms of the 90s, 2000s. And they were saying that a man would assert respect or authority at least 14 times per episode in the 1950s.
Interesting.
And then in the 1990s, 2000s, less than 6 on average. Did the man assert any kind of authority in these episodes in their shows?
I'm curious about that because in those instances in the latter group, I wonder how many of those were like this, as they are saying it now, the toxic. I'm exploding and I'm overreacting. I'm overcompensating. Overcorrecting now because of the lack of leadership, the lack of responsibility, the lack of putting any effort forward. I wonder how many of those within the 6 or less are just like this. And again, and it comes off as
toxic,
an idiot, a doofus, whatever. Because now you're like, okay, you weren't there at all. Now you're going to be like super over present, and then you're going to be overcorrecting. And now again, you're the butt of the joke.
On top of that, when they're showing that overreaction to the situation, what do you hear as an audience? You hear the laugh reel, right? So even when he's like frustrated and throwing a fit and whatnot, they make you laugh at it by putting in the laugh reel. So it became like, you're not going to take this person seriously.
The masses to think, oh, this is not to be taken seriously, even though he's supposed to be the authority figure. He's supposed to be the leader.
His authority is being challenged.
Right.
As the head of the household, as the responsible. And we were tossing around this word responsibility a lot in the beginning of this conversation with regards to that he's trying to absolve himself or pass the buck, right? Even though at the heart of masculinity, the heart of what it is to be a man and not an adult male, the distinguishing factor. What's the word? Distinguishing factor. The distinguishing factor is responsibility, right?
Right.
So therefore, so that's what we have. So now we have a generation of adult males and hardly any real men.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
The Ninja Turtles.
I like the reference.
The Teenage Mutant
Variety.
April was narrating, and then there's Casey Jones, a 9-year-old trapped in a man's body.
And I will have to say, this. Just I was for whatever reason, I always thought he was actually 9 years old, and he was
For a
trapped
long
in
time.
I took that to be literally he was 9 years old, but in reality, it's just mentally he's just not there. He's just not where he's
So,
supposed to be.
Maybe we can blame it on the hockey. I don't know.
Can we? I mean, do you think it was intentional? Do you think it was a type of push onto the family structure in that regard to, in a way, dismantle, right? And
to dismantle
shift?
families and
Yeah.
whatnot. I wouldn't say that. I mean, we could sit here and have like conspiracy theories about all the
Sure,
shows
sure.
and whatnot,
We're here.
right? We could. Well, yeah, I mean, we can get our tinfoil hats
theorize.
and just
I
go
would
for it,
love
right?
The tinfoil hats.
But if you look at it, it's really representative of what's going on in the time too.
Mm-hmm.
Post World War II,
There you go.
women had to get into the work field.
Right.
Women had to kind of assert authority. Women were no longer in this like, just set in the domestic
Because
situations.
the men were not home; they were off at war.
They were off at war,
Yeah.
or they were dealing with their PTSD afterwards,
Correct.
or the physical injuries after the war.
Sure.
So women had to step in and take these roles on,
Mhm.
and that changes women. And I know I may get myself canceled as a woman,
Well,
as
we're
a
gonna get
therapist.
canceled.
No, let's talk. Let's talk
No.
facts. We're not going to talk about things. Let's just talk facts, and let's
Right.
talk about what happened as a result of these events that took place.
No, what I wanted to say about why I think I would get canceled. So women in general, I'm not saying women need to be home. Obviously, like I'm definitely out. If that
Yeah.
was what I believed, then I'm
Sure.
breaking my own rules, right?
Sure.
But when women are exposed to being in the workforce, and when not necessarily forced, when they have to be in the workforce, when they're required to be the ones that are taking out the garbage, they're the ones that have to go and get an oil change, and then they're the ones that have to get the tire changed and whatnot. And these kind of chip away at that natural femininity of a female, so
Mhm.
that there is that you kind of have to tap into that masculine side of you. Like
Mhm.
I remember traveling on our own without my husband, and I was kind of like the man, if you want to call it, of the trip. And I
Yeah.
had my mother-in-law, my own mom, and 3 kids. I remember lugging 7 full-size suitcases, 4 flights of stairs by myself, because I can't expect my mom or my mother-in-law to do it, and the kids were young.
Mm-hmm.
And I literally, like, as I was going down the stairs, I'm like, there goes my femininity. Like, it was rough. And I don't say that as in women can't be strong and women can't take care of themselves. But what I'm saying is, when you put women in these situations, they end up getting it chips away at that femininity, and the entire society kind of starts shifting with masculinity and femininity and the powers and the dynamics within families.
So I think you said the operative word, which is they had to.
Mm-hmm.
They have to. There was no other choice.
Right.
Right. And I think like at the heart of femininity is that she is afforded the opportunity,
Mm-hmm.
right? Versus needing to. There's
Right.
no other choice.
Right.
Right. And I think this is kind of like a key, being able to manage that, being able to ride that dragon, is what makes a man
Mm-hmm.
step up, right?
Yeah.
And be that leader. That's a leadership quality.
Mm-hmm.
I have to make the best out of a situation. There are things that I have to do in order for the house to continue. In order, like hook or crook, I got to pay the bills.
Right.
Right. I have to step up to the plate.
Mm-hmm.
There is no plan B. There is no secret option C.
Mm-hmm.
Living in that world.
Right.
And we're out of options. And that's just very uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this is like one of the, like, when you're talking about the different waves of feminism, I think at the heart, one of the issues at the heart of the problems of, especially the third wave and
Mm-hmm.
beyond of feminism, is that it does require, there are certain givens that require for third wave and fourth wave and fifth wave feminism to have a foot to stand on, which is a level of comfort, a level of entitlement, a level of civilization. There has to be an infrastructure already in place, right? Options are on the table. You are entitled to be spoiled, right? As opposed to, we're going to strip all these options away and just go back to the fundamentals of what it means to be in survival mode.
Yep.
Right? Any wave of feminism would not have survived in a world where you're trying to survive.
Right, the post-war kind of
Post World War II, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's out the window.
Yeah, absolutely.
What do you think, I mean, is a practical approach to correct it without going overboard?
How do we correct it without overcorrecting?
Whew, that's a big one.
That's a big one. There's going to be a dissertation
Just,
on this one.
Right. Yeah.
But what do you think? I mean, just first thoughts that come to mind.
I think it starts from parenting. Like it starts from when the kids are young, right? Like you really have to start there. Alhamdulillah, I'm blessed with boys and a girl.
Yay.
Right? So the boys, you know, the way I raise them, I try to be as fair as possible. You can't be equal, right? You have to be fair.
With each child, you can't be equal.
Right. You have to be fair. You cannot be equal, right? Like with parenting, like genuinely, because the needs are different. It's kind of like a kid falls and hurts their knee and another kid falls and hurts their elbow, but I'm going to give everybody a Band-Aid on their knee. That's being equal. But being fair is treating where the harm is. So I'm going to put a Band-Aid on the elbow, put a Band-Aid on the knee. So
that's a good example.
Right? So that's kind of how it is with parenting. So when I look at my kids, like, okay, what are their needs? I know like my eldest has very different needs than my middle, very different needs than the girl, than my daughter. So it really starts there, seeing what their abilities are and putting responsibilities on them based on their psychological developmental age. So from a very, very young age, the boys, you know, I didn't have a girl until 7 years after, you know, my second boy. So the boys had to do all the responsibilities that we would call like feminine responsibilities or whatnot.
Domestic chores.
Domestic chores. That's why I'm putting them in air quotations, you know.
Like doing the dishes.
Right.
Or
dusting or doing the laundry and whatnot.
Baseboards.
They're short enough that they can reach the baseboards. It's easier for them.
Yeah.
When we were growing up, we called this taking care of the house. Right.
Living in the house, taking care of yourself.
You know, you want to live in this house? Yeah, you got to take out the garbage. Well, that's probably the traditionally man thing, but like.
But did you guys do dishes?
You better believe we did the dishes. You better believe we did the laundry. Yes.
Yeah. Why do you say it with that face?
Because there's a huge pile downstairs. But, you know.
It's like after this podcast, I got to get to it.
Me too.
Okay. I thought it was like this resentful. I have to do the dishes after.
It's my thing. And I'm failing at.
No, it's not failing.
Priorities.
Dishes will always be there. My mom used to say like
dishes and laundry.
Yes, dishes and laundry are like this perpetual thing that will never end until you die. They will still continue to like reproduce.
Me after I die.
Yes, they will always be there.
You know those towers in Wally?
Yeah.
Dishes.
Right. Dishes and laundry, especially if you have babies.
Right.
But subhanAllah, so going back to where do we start to kind of end the cycle of weak masculine men or males, okay, right?
Yeah.
Weak masculine males. So we start at a young age. As the boys get older, you're responsible for yourself. You're responsible for your behavior. But from our young age, like when my mother-in-law would come over, my husband would have to be like, we're walking Tata out. Like we're walking grandma out. And then now that my boys are older, anytime a female comes, like of my friends or anybody, like you need to go walk her to the car. Even if she's carrying something very light, you need to carry that and go take it to the car. Not because the woman is weak and unable and you know, like
I can hold it myself. I can hold my own door. I can buy my own flowers.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So yes, you can, but I'm
you
trying to raise.
But do you have to?
You don't have to.
You don't have
but
to.
I'm trying to raise a man that's considerate, that's looking around them.
Supposed to.
Exactly. That can see. So if I'm walking in and I'm carrying a bunch of things, I don't want my kid to just look up and down and be like, you got it? I'm like, no. You don't ask me you got it. You come and you take it off my hands because that's what a respectful man would do.
Right.
And, you know, like my son now just turned 15 and he's starting to notice these things where, you know, we'll be at the masjid. Actually, I'll give you a real life example. So when Nan was pregnant with my second, who's now almost 12, I'm at the masjid. We're cleaning up after iftar or suhoor at this point. We've got like 3 or 4 women folding all the tables and chairs and putting them away, fully pregnant, carrying this table and walking across. Kid you not, this was like, it could be from a sitcom. 4 guys, fully muscular men, talking about how much they can bench at the gym.
Oh, Lord. While
watching a very pregnant woman carrying a 6 foot table across the masjid to go and pack it up.
Why?
Right. So my frustration was through the roof, but this wasn't the first time. And if you ask any woman, like you guys go back and talk to your wives about this, how many times have you been carrying boxes and you passed 5, 6, or as my kids say, 6, 7 men, and they don't take anything from you, right? They just kind of watch you, be like, "You good?" That's if they're even like
paying attention.
paying attention,
Right.
So we start young. We start young, and we talk about the responsibility. You're not. What is it called? You're not a privileged human just because you're male, right? Like we're all privileged humans because Allah created us and Allah loves us. But you have responsibilities to yourself. You have responsibilities to those around you. You are a responsible member of the family. You don't get to sit and just order your family around and be like, you make me tea, you go wash whatever. And you kind of just sit back just because you're the financial provider.
Right.
Like Allah assigned you as a qawamun ala nisa, right? Like,
Yes,
right? So
let's translate that.
Yes. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in, I believe it's Surah Nisa, ayah 34.
Yeah, Nisa, women, the chapter of women.
So chapter 4, verse 34, it talks about men being qawamun. And there's so many debates. There's
caretaker, responsible.
Right. There's full dissertations written about this verse in general. It's like it's such a controversial verse for a lot of people.
Only if you subscribe to, like, to fully subscribe to them. Modern definition of feminism. So, but if you're coming in with that paradigm, right, as opposed to starting with a paradigm of what God said, then everything else will look backwards. Keep going. Right.
No, so it's qawamun means like you are the ones responsible to caretakers and caregivers for the women because of some of the blessings that you got. بما فضلنا بعضهم على بعض. And if I'm misquoting, I apologize. With what we have blessed some over others. So some were blessed with physical ability, some were blessed with financial abilities, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying that you are responsible and you're the caretakers because you have this financial and physical responsibility to help and respectfully take care of your women. So with that in mind, as Muslims raise our families based on the Quran and the Sunnah, right? The Quran and the teachings of the Prophet, we take that as our truth. Our truth, our teaching.
That's our yardstick.
Exactly. That's exactly what it is. It's the yardstick that we go off of.
Since this podcast is about movies and TVs and everything else, what recommended films would you say promote the proper positive role model father figure? Right.
Or if it's like a specific example, not because I mean, you got to take you don't take the bad with the good, right? We're only going to take the good example. So for example, I was thinking about this on the drive over, like, what's a good example? Like the last good example of what a father figure should look like was Uncle Phil from Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, right? Yeah. I mean, I don't even it's been a long time since I watched the show. I watched it a number of times growing up and again in college. It was like very nostalgic for me. We have it on Fandango at home, so you can binge watch it there. But I don't recall him being a doofus dad. I recall him living up to the meaning of the word, being the man in the house, right? Yeah.
He was kind of still the butt of some of the jokes, but not because of him being a doofus.
Correct.
More of
it was like
how strict he was and how
him balding or him being fat or they made those jokes on him in that regard.
Poofy.
But when it came to the role of him being
Poofy,
the father,
fat.
Poofy.
It's all this
fluffy.
Yeah. I'm not fat.
Fluffy. Yeah. But like so him being but his role as being the father, the husband, the respected. I don't think that was touched, right? That was respected. Mm-hmm. And I don't recall any father figure in a TV show or a movie since, right? It was.
I love when he called out Will's dad.
Dude, that episode, that entire give me episode, a box of tissues at the end of that episode. God. Because when Will breaks down, right? That last line when he goes off example by example of what a father is supposed to teach his son, right? These are things that are uniquely that a father will teach his son, right? A mother can try. A mother can raise her son to be a good moral citizen, to be God-fearing, but she cannot teach him to be a man. I'm sorry, right? And she can try her best.
Yeah.
But that boy needs adult man figures around him. I have friends. I got a really close buddy of mine who lost his father as a teenager. So he had to step up, right? His mother never remarried, right? But alhamdulillah rabbil alameen, that he had a lot of good men that were close friends with his father, right? And they were around within an arm's distance, right? So it never fully covered the gap, right? But,
there was some supplementation.
There was there.
Yeah.
Mentors, teachers, people he would call that were not his biological uncles, but they were like his uncle. They were like, like
his
that.
amo.
Yeah.
And I think that's where the whole idea of it takes a village. Right?
Yes.
So even with my 15-year-old, there are certain times like I'll talk to him and it's not getting through. My husband will talk to him, it won't get through. Sometimes I'll call my brother, who my son is very, very close to. So I'll call my brother and be like, hey, like we're dealing with the situation. Or my son will actually call my brother and be like, do you know what mom did? Like, can you believe your sister? And then he'll kind of talk to him, be like, okay, let's figure it out. You need these positive male figures, even if the father is around and the father is a positive role model. You need multiple different role models, because my husband might not be the same personality as my son, and you need the different realities of what a Muslim man looks like to be around your son in a positive way, to show them that there are different ways to be a positive Muslim, masculine, healthy masculine man.
Right. Yeah. SubhanAllah. And then, back to the monologue that, Will Smith had about breaking down all the different things. The concluding line of that monologue, when he broke down, tears are flowing, and he said, why doesn't he want me?
Love.
You know what I mean? This is the heart of the issue right here. This entire, there's so much to unpack from here. But when we talk about, let's go back to kind of like the core issue. When we look at Islam, right, as not just a religion in the worship sense of the word, but as a complete system of life, and that one of the key of the 5 objectives is hiflun nasab, the preservation of lineage, right? Knowing who your father is. In fact, when we look at the seerah, the life of Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, when he took the Pledge of Allegiance from the people, particularly the women, one of the conditions was, do not lie. Do you promise not to lie about who the father of your children are? I was like, he said that? And I thought about it, because it goes back to the formation. It's not just about knowing who your father is, right? Line from 13th Warrior. Right?
That line.
Okay.
That's a good one.
But it's about who is my North Star in my life, right?
My rock.
And having an honorable woman, a noble woman as your mother, right? That family structure. And then going forward, but then we look at the, society that we live in American society, especially post sexual revolution in 1969, right? What happened? Before that point, it was like, I remember reading that, I forget the number. Maybe if you know it, please share. The number of illegitimate children in America was very small percentage, very small, right? Now, 97% of Americans practice premarital and extramarital sex.
Mm-hmm.
And it's pretty common that the firstborn child that any American has is an illegitimate one.
I can't remember the percentages, but I remember the insanity of how high the number was, but I can't remember exactly what it is.
Right.
I feel like we need a little quick fact checker as we talk. But,
right.
Yeah.
And another example about, we were talking about you're training your boys to, you see a lady holding something, even if it's something very light, you immediately offer, right? Don't ask her if she's good. Offer, can I take this off your hands? Mm-hmm. Right? Can I walk a lady to the car? Right? Can I escort you to your car? Whatever, or even say it in a way where, where she doesn't feel that she's being imposed, but just letting you know, I got you if you need it. Yeah. The option is there.
And not in a sleazy way.
No.
I know, some guys
in a gentlemanly way.
Right, exactly.
Right? And this is the point that I'm getting at. I remember an anecdote where Steve Harvey was talking about this with regards to his wife.
I think Abdulrahman found the percentage.
What?
Is it 50-something percent? 57?
So apparently in the 1940s, this is just something based off the quick Google search. In the 1940s, it was about 3.8%.
3.8%
Yep.
of illegitimate children were born in America.
In 1990, it was about 28%.
28%.
Mm-hmm. And now we're about 40%.
Congratulations, America.
4 in 10.
Has to be a lot.
Well
done.
Wow.
Here's a line from one of the first searches. Since 1970, out of wedlock birth rates have soared. There it is.
I wonder what happened in the summer of 1969. So, I think there is. So it is a two-way street, but I do believe in personal accountability.
Mm-hmm.
So one thing. So I think it's a matter of the lady has a certain. She demands a certain level of respect by her, like the way she composes herself, the way she carries herself. So Steve Harvey's wife, she expects her husband to open the door for her when they get to their car, right? He was talking about how one time he was on the phone and it was a very upsetting phone call and he was yelling at the other guy on the other phone. They walk into the car and her name is Marjorie. That's what it was. Okay. She walks up to the car door and she just stands there, right? And he walks her to the car and he walks over to his side, right? And he's like, I walk over there like a damn fool and I'm getting in, I turn on the car and I'm about to pull out. And then I realize my wife is still on the other side of that door waiting for me to open that door. And I was like, oh my God, whatever is happening on the phone call is not as important as meeting the expectations that my wife set, right? Enforcing, this is the enforcing for her husband to be the gentleman that she knows him to be.
Right. But you know what, you kind of hit something that I want to address. So it takes a real man to be able to understand that type of woman that you're describing, the woman that demands the respect. Because we're in a society right now that when a woman demands respect, there are some very unfriendly titles that they're labeled with, right? So I don't know how PG or this show is, but we can all imagine, right?
PG-13, no F-bombs, no. Listen, if you know what? Let's keep it PG. Don't go to the 13.
I don't. Even if it wasn't for
but
the
let's
show,
just use the first letter.
Really? I mean, you could imagine all the expletive that describe women who are assertive, right? Yeah. Instead of using the word assertive or confident or that strong or whatever I'm going to use the kind of, she's demanding, she's a witch, you know, she's a
Grinch.
Yes. Yes, there's a lot of words that are used to describe women. And when we're looking at, you know, people who are looking to get into relationships now, many men will not approach women in any kind of like leadership, community leadership, or any kind of work leadership positions. Or if a woman has a higher degree than he does,
right?
Or if she's financially more stable than he is, their manlyhood is threatened exactly by that. So that's where we start from a very young age of like, what does a man mean? It's not how many keys you have on your keychain. It's not how much money or how many dollar bills you have in your account.
No, it's not.
It's who you are. And if you guys don't mind, character, right? I'm going to use the one example from Islam, right? If you don't mind.
Of course.
So Musa alayhi salam is our best example, you know, or one of our best examples is like when we go to our prophet. So Musa alayhi salam, we go into the story of Moses where he was fleeing. He is literally now in Midian. He has nowhere to go. Extreme poverty. He's bankrupt.
Broke.
He's
literally barefoot.
Literally left with the clothes on his back that are even ripped, and shoes. Some stories say that his shoes were like falling apart, that his feet were bleeding from walking
Prince
and whatnot.
of Egypt, yes.
Prince of Egypt is right on. Like, you know, how can it be wrong?
That was the one thing I got right.
How can it be wrong? So he's in this place of like absolute disparity, right? And what does he see? He sees the people of the village all getting their water.
The men of the village. You know, fetching water for their animals or taking their animals to, you know, like the watering hole, getting all their animals their water and whatnot. And he kind of sees two women hovering with their flock of sheep. They kind of go in, but then the men kind of push them out. Nobody is looking at them. They don't know what to do. So what does he do? He just goes up. He's like, what's up? And they're like, well, we're trying to water, you know, get water for our flock. He's like, all right, I got you.
doesn't say what's your name, where are you from, where'd you get those animals? They're so cool. And like start to get like, deep and personal. No, he's like, I see a need as a man. I'm going to step in. I'm going to take care of that need. Took care of the need, brought the sheep back to them. We're done. And he walks away. He leaves them and he goes. He could have been like, hey, I'm broke. Can you pay me for the job that I did? Which would have been totally fine.
Mm-hmm.
Be like, I'll do it for a meal, which again would have been totally fine. But that's where that positive masculinity came in of like, I see a need for these sisters, for these ladies. I'm going to take care of it. I'm going to go. And then we know later on, he ends up marrying one of the two girls.
Mm-hmm. At her
request.
Like when you read the verses in the Quran about this, she was planting the seed all along.
Yep.
She was the one who came back. She was the one who went back to him. Hey, our dad wants to thank you. Right?
Because hey, think
Dad,
about
he's
society.
strong and competent
and honest.
Maybe you should hire him. Wink, wink. Right? And he picked up what she was putting down. Right? I'll make you a deal, young man. I'm gonna hire you 8 years, and you marry one of my daughters. What do you think of that one? Right? Same. Like she like. But
think about the society they're in. It kind of is very similar to what we're in. It's these women who have a need, who go to take care of it, and there's literally a bunch of men doing exactly like one of them could be like, hey, I could take half your flock and get water with my flock, but nobody cared, right? Nobody's showing that level of like initiative. But Musa comes in and sweeps in, so that lady sees it as like that guy's different, right? And that's what we're missing in our society right now. With like those men that are different, who are qawamun, right? Like who are willing to step up when they, when you need them to. But even later on in the story, when Musa now is going back to Egypt and he takes his wife and kids and his family back, we're in the middle of the desert. It's dark. They're cold. They don't know directions. They don't know what to do. What does he say? He's like, you guys sit here. I see a fire. I'm going to go and check out what that fire is doing. He doesn't say, hey, come with me. Like I need company or whatnot. Doesn't send his wife, be like, hey, can you go check out that, check out that fire, check out that light. He's like, you guys stay here.
Be safe. Yeah.
Be safe. I don't want to put you in danger. I'm going to go and check it out and see what's going on. Like maybe perhaps I'll find guidance, with that fire. And he goes on, and the story goes on with Musa,
Foreshadow.
Right.
Actual guidance,
right? SubhanAllah. It's so poetic. It's absolutely poetic. But what I'm saying with Musa, it's he showed that initiative as a single man. He showed it as a married person. And I'm pretty sure later on as a family man, it showed up in his behaviors and in his work. It's showing that positive masculinity.
Right.
As you're talking about it, I'm thinking, who raised him, right? The wife of Fir'aun, who was one of the most beloved women to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Yeah.
Right.
Just saying.
And it's a woman with a really weird male figure in that household, right? The pharaoh is
the greatest tyrant to have ever existed and will exist.
And that's kind of like a counterpoint to what you were saying earlier of like a woman cannot fully raise a man on her own. No. Right? Yes and no. Okay. Because it's not the child's fault that they're, fatherless. Right? Sure. It's never the child's fault. No. The Prophet didn't have a father.
Correct.
Right? His mom raised him up until 7. Then Ayman raised him for quite a bit. He had his uncle. He had his grandpa. He had all the male, uncles and whatnot around him.
Was present.
Right. But also he had Halima for a long time. So there's a lot of female figures.
Right.
But it's that societal understanding and expectation of what a man is.
Right. And when you said Ayman, shout out to my namesake. Yeah. Right. So, but yeah, like, and since, and I was going to mention this, when you mentioned this, these women, the women of today, that they are, getting higher degrees, they're getting higher paying jobs, and how, what is a man supposed to do with that, or how he's supposed to feel about that? And maybe he does feel intimidated, maybe he feels that if she is making more money than me, if she has a higher degree than me, then why does she need me? A man does need to feel needed, right? So I hear that argument, and I would counter it with, let's look at our prime example of who a man was. I don't think anybody will argue that there was any deficiency in the manhood or in the manliness of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And if you do, we're gonna have to go talk outside. That's like you know what I mean? So, because when you look at his situation, he was 25 when he finally got married in a society when it was common to be married as a teenager, because teenagers were considered grown adults.
men.
You're done, right? You're done. Grown
Question real quick.
Yeah.
25 Hijri or 25
25 Hijri years.
so
Lunar years.
Lunar years. So then
24, fine.
Is
Yes,
okay, 23,
yeah.
24. Okay, cool.
33 is when you left.
I'm finding this fascination of, what we know from hadith in terms of numbers and age and people, and then actually relating it to our calendar. So what is it?
The Gregorian calendar.
Right. So
yeah.
here's
fun plug. The Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam was not 40 years old when he became a prophet.
He was 38.
He was 38 and change, probably 39, right? Because the Gregorian calendar, right? He was 40 on the lunar calendar, which means that he was not 63 when he passed. He was 61, right? So anyway, tangent.
Details that
Tangent.
It doesn't matter. It's fascinating
Back
to me.
Back to manliness and all this, right? He finally got married at 25 at where the first move was. First of all, first move was done by Khadija, right? Radiallahu anha. She was his boss, right? She employed him. She contracted him to be the broker, the merchant for her merchandise, for her investments. He went to Syria, did an honest job. I think it was a couple times, and she saw it. Khalas, proven himself. So she let somebody know that she is interested, right? She has more money. She's more established.
Yep.
She is more in every dunyawi, like material world success that a man is supposed to take care of in order to be able to go and propose to a woman for. In that scenario, how does he establish the qawwama? How does he establish himself as the leader of the house? And we do see that he is the leader of his house, let alone the nation of our ummah, right? So, like, I mean, that this question does need to be answered for our young men of today to just get over it when you see a woman that you may be interested in, but she is more established than you.
Yeah.
Right, not to be intimidated by our cultural, norm of like, better position, higher class. I'm not deemed worthy to even consider, right? Because I'm going to be looked down on like, oh, well, what do you do?
No. It really is the question. It's really answering the question, well, what does she need from me if she already has the degree, the higher degree than I do, the higher paying job than I do, right? Would we even rely on her paycheck for our household? What is my role as the leader of the house if that's what she's bringing to the table? Well, Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam started his first household, his first marriage, under those circumstances.
Right.
Okay? What's the answer to that question?
It's not dunya stuff.
So it's not the material.
It can't be the material. I mean, because she has the material. So, like, again, what are you as a man offering? Well, if you don't have the thing that she already has those things, then from a dunya perspective, that's that. When we say that the as the Quran says that the men they have this qawwama on nisa, they're supposed to be leaders.
They're responsible
Protectors.
For
the household.
For what? Keep going. For the household, but to what end?
In my mind, it's I don't know I don't know what you're going for.
I'm going past dunya.
So, for getting to them into Jannah.
That's your job. That's our job.
Not that we can't find Jannah on our own.
Oh, no, absolutely not. No, absolutely
I'm just
not.
listening with you.
Absolutely not. But
putting on that feminist hat just for a second.
But it's true. I mean, yes.
Yeah.
Can you elaborate more?
I mean, I need to make sure that I am. We were talking about the village and stuff earlier, and how do I raise my children? One of the ways that we also raise our children is it's not just by talking; it's also by example. How do I treat my wife? Because that's how my son will treat his wife. How does my wife treat me? Because that's how our daughter will treat her husband, right? And so if we come into this with this lens of here's what Quran and Sunnah says, then everything becomes very clear, right? Becomes very clear. And so, like, again, what is the responsibility that you have? So I mean, I've had this conversation before with my wife, and not to get like super personal, but I've had this conversation before. And one of the things that we talked about was I need to make sure that like I need to make sure like one thing is when it comes time for Salah, I am going to go make sure that all of the kids are getting ready for Salah. And I need you to help me with that. So when we hear the adhan go off, we have 5 minutes. Everyone needs to go make wudu. And that's one of the ways that I'm going to I'm going to put that, like, that's the leadership thing. Like I'm going to initiate that whenever I'm home. So if because of my work schedule, most of the time it's Maghrib and Isha and so on. And subhanAllah, within a week or so of us doing that, my daughter started saying, Baba, when you get up in the morning for Fajr, can you wake me up for Fajr too?
Mm-hmm.
And she's 8 years old.
MashaAllah. Yeah.
So this is I'm seeing the fruits of our labor. Like it's working. We just have to keep going with this. And now the other thing is, so they have some that I took them to the store the other day, and they had some money left over from Eid and whatever. And so talking to them about, look, we have this money, we have this money, we can spend it, we can save it, we can also give it.
Mm-hmm.
And we talk about going to the masjid, and there's a box there to help those who are in need, and to help the masjid itself. We're going to give sadaqah. That's one of the things that that's an actual actionable thing that you're doing, a tangible thing that you're doing, and showing, and your leadership is there, right? So that's just 2 examples that I'm thinking about. Like when it comes to, Ramadan is in about a month or so. And so showing the family what that means. And again, example, we're just showing by example, leading by example, because it's about, for me, one of the things that's on my shoulders is I feel like it's my responsibility to get my family into Jannah.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm hoping that some of my family will pull me higher into Jannah. So
Inshallah.
I'm looking at you guys, okay?
Word.
But the other thing too is it's if you have that healthy idea of what masculinity is, you shouldn't need. I actually don't like the word shouldn't, but there isn't a need for you to want the validation of your masculinity from your spouse.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like the idea of like, if I marry somebody who's established financially, who's established academically, whatnot, what do I add to the table? You're a human being. It's not just your finances don't define who you are. And if you are confident in who you are as a person, there's a lot to bring to the table outside of finances, outside of academics and whatnot. You're a person.
Mm-hmm.
You are completing each other's, life. You're completing each other's life outside of a financial responsibilities as well.
Right.
So
that's not to say that he
if
should
there's
sit back and be
No.
what's the time a sugar daddy? No, sorry, is it the way around?
Yeah, sugar daddy. Well, no, yeah, having a sugar mama.
Having a sugar mama. What do you call that guy who has a sugar mama? What do you call that?
I don't know.
But the idea is but what I'm saying is that it is not befitting for a man, for a husband, to do that. It's not befitting of a man. He should go out and work. He should go out and feel the responsibility of taking care of his wife, taking care of the house. Because
Brother Malcolm right there.
100%. Because this is from Islam. That this is real.
Absolutely.
Right? Because this is his responsibility. In fact, in Islam, when his wife contributes to the expenses of the household, it is considered a sadaqah, a charity on her part. Whereas when a man does it, right, it is considered a responsibility. He is answerable to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on the day of judgment for it, right? And of course, there is the aspect that, it is favorable to spend on your family, right? That when you're factoring in how much am I spending on my family and how much I'm going to give on sadaqah, right? This is all like it is awla, like it is priority to spend on your family, right? Not to spoil, but to take care of, right? So there is that balance, right? Let's shift the conversation, Amal, especially with regards to your expertise and what you do for a living, and I think is a very needed function in our community, especially in the Muslim community. Having Muslim therapists, having that resource is very important to understand. Like for somebody to already understand the religious and cultural norms, and also not to suggest things that are outside of our religious restrictions. What are you seeing with regards to our community? Things that could have been avoided, that are prevalent in our community.
It kind of, some of the stuff that I think relevant to our conversation today is what I talked about before. It's like we need to start at the child stage and raise proper men and women in our community that are responsible. Like the cases that I work with couples, I work with individuals. And a lot of the individuals I work with are mothers or fathers that are dealing with their teenage kids that have, or not teenage kids even, sometimes older kids that have failure to launch. On the men's side, the men or the males, the male children are just not pursuing anything in life.
There's no fire under them.
There's no fire under them. They don't feel a need. I remember asking somebody, and I was like, did you ever ask them, like, how would you ever propose to a woman? Like, how would you ever approach the idea of marriage? Just like, oh, that's not even something. He's like, he's told me on multiple times he does not want to get married. Like, he does not see the need for this whole like institution of marriage. And so there's so many issues.
I'm curious on the starting point of that. What enabled? Is it because we are middle class, upper middle class? We as parents want to give our children more than what we had growing up.
100%.
And so because they never had to work for it, therefore there's no fire.
What is it?
Because the fire comes from needing
survival,
having a want.
There's a thing about like good times produce
bad times. Good times produce.
Oh man,
I need to look it up. This is very good. This is a very good point.
Yeah.
I just want to really
let it keep going. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Please let it keep going.
No, you're fine. But I kind of understand what you're saying. I think I've read the quote before. It's like, think about majority of our community. They're right now, we're children of immigrants or immigrants. Do you want to share that?
Yeah, so it goes, hard times create strong men create good times create weak men, and weak men create hard times.
And there's your cycle.
That's exactly where we're at. And we're at that weak men creating good times. Think about all your influencers and create all the YouTubers and all the people that just sit and just play video games, and people just sit there and watch them play video games. They're creating good times, but these good times, or what was it?
Weak men create hard times.
Weak men are creating
good times create weak men. Weak men create hard times.
Right.
I think we're transitioning from good times create weak men to weak men create hard times.
We're in between those three, right? So we have this generation that's had things so easy. And I would say I'm part of that generation, right? Like my dad, Allah yarhamu, worked so hard. Like he's straight up from the generation that had nothing. He was a refugee that escaped the Nakba, right? Like he survived the Nakba and lived in refugee camps until he was in college. And, and then pursued college and did everything like possible to change the trajectory of our family.
So let's translate that. He did his K through 12 and he had to be the A+ student.
Yes.
And if he wasn't, it was death.
Basically. And because he was the youngest of
That's a
7,
hell of a stick instead of the carrot in front of you.
Exactly. And it was a stick that was like beating his back the whole way.
Right.
So he was the youngest of 7. He's the only one that did that. So out of the 7, none of them completed high school. Their goal was the baby is going to do it because we couldn't do it. We're going to pour everything we have into the baby. The family ends up with a PhD from England, right? And then professor, research, multiple, what's it called? Inventions and awards for inventions and whatnot.
Patents,
exactly. That's the word I was looking for. Patents. So multiple patents of her inventions from the Middle East, from the US, from, England, globally known for his research and whatnot, until he passed away, even after retirement, like pouring into the community continuously. And I remember one of the last things that he had advised before he passed away, he kind of sat us down. He was like, you guys, dunya is kind of fleeting, right? He wasn't ill at this point, but it was like, it's like, as you get older, you start imparting this knowledge on your children. And I remember him saying, the most important thing for you guys now to do is to focus on the youth. He was like, focus on the youth. Pour all your efforts into the youth. Anything that you do needs to go into the youth of our community because that's where the next generation, like the change in our ummah is going to change if you guys put this effort into the youth of our community. So he went through all this hardship. Our life, we grew up through the 90s. It was difficult. I wouldn't say easy, but there isn't anything he could afford that he prevented us from having. Like he went above and beyond, like withholding from himself to give to us, right? And then there's our generation where, alhamdulillah, we're middle class, upper middle class. Our kids get anything they want. And now in the world of like instant gratification, you just want something, it'll show up at your door by 7 a.m. the next day, right? There is don't even have to wait for it, let alone you have to work for it. Like you don't even have to wait for it anymore. It's like I want it now. Okay, well, you're going to have to wait till the morning. I'm sorry. Right? Our kids will get it.
I can't believe this. Unacceptable.
Right. So
So
we have these weak generation that everything comes at them. And there's this idea of like a window of tolerance with mental health. And everybody has a window of tolerance. And the easier your life is, the smaller that window of tolerance is.
Mm-hmm.
So your life is kind of going smooth and whatnot. If your window tolerance is smaller or shorter, when good times happen, you're almost manic. You're above that window of tolerance for even good times. And when bad times happen, you're outside of your window of tolerance. And that's where you see that disturbance in behavior and emotions. You're unable to regulate yourself and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you increase that window of tolerance? Is you teach your kids to go through hardships. You don't jump in to save them every time something happens. You make them work hard for like the thing that they want to get, and you know, you make them wait for it. Cancel Amazon Prime for multiple reasons. You don't need that instant gratification for things. But I think that's, I don't even know how we got to this point, but that's where the difference of the generations happen. That's where it was. The generations that we're dealing with right now, the clients that I'm seeing are parents that are dealing with these kids who don't have a fire under them. They don't feel the desire or the need to work for anything, right? Like, I don't need to work hard. I even had, I was at a salon getting my hair done, and this little girl was telling her mom, who was getting her, the girl's probably 10 years old, and she goes, "Mama, when you die, do I get all your gold?"
Llama.
Right? And I remember the hairstylist, she was I had a Muslim woman, she kind of stopped and she was like, "Why didn't you say, Mama, when I grow up, I want to buy you gold? Like, you raised me so well and you did all this stuff for me. I want to give you gold." She's like, "Well, but why? She has it for herself. I want to work and get it, but I want to see who gets the gold when my mom dies." Right? These kids are, obviously it's not all kids, but that's
it's a sneak peek into, like, you know, what is the thought process for the majority.
Some
maybe.
of these kids, right? Their idea is like, okay, mom did what she had to do, not mom did above and beyond what she needed to do. And now it's my turn to kind of pay back. It's more of like, how do I continue to benefit off of my mom's hard work so that my life continues to be easy?
Take.
Yes.
Right.
So last question.
Yes.
Before we close it up, you mentioned mental health, and we're talking about instant gratification. How, and this is going to be the loaded question, right? It's just going to mean like it's a leading question. I'm suggesting my own answer.
Right.
How detrimental is instant gratification to proper mental health, to having a healthy state of mind and mental health well-being?
Yeah. Instant gratification creates weakness in general, in anything. Like, instant gratification, let's say you're working out, right? And you're lifting weights and whatnot. Instant gratifications would be put the weights down and walk away. What does that do? It literally creates weakness in your muscles because you're not pushing those muscles to feel the pain, to go beyond.
To build, right.
So it's like the most like literal, imagery that I can give you on that. But also,
so your brain goes through the same exact thing.
It's exactly the same thing. Your brain is another form of a muscle, in your body that you need to train for hardship. Like in Ramadan, like we're fasting, instant gratification. It's like, I want to eat, I'm going to eat. But because and
that's a basic level need.
Exactly.
Not want.
Exactly. And that's where a lot of people, when they are like, "Oh, why do you fast in Ramadan?" They're like, "Oh, so we could feel with the needy." I'm like, no, that's not it. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling you, if you can withhold from the basic needs that you have, then you could withhold from the haram. You could withhold from the things that you should stay away from. That's the purpose of Ramadan, is to train you during these 30 days. The same way you could even stop yourself in our Arizona 120-degree weather from drinking water. You can hold yourself accountable and not do something you're not supposed to be doing.
Our Deen has interwoven how to raise us, right? And it's discipline.
Right.
And that's why people don't like us, because we have discipline.
Yeah.
And there's also why some people love us.
Right. There's the attraction.
They get attracted to it.
Right. Yeah. Like, oh, I need some guidance in my life. I need some.
No, if you're materialistic, you're going to hate it. But if you already have everything and you still feel empty, you find Islam, you run into Islam, you're like, where has Islam been my entire life?
Right. It gives you that discipline. It gives you that higher purpose. And that's the other issue that I do notice a lot when people ask me, like, what's the main thing that you notice with people that come to you, especially when I worked with the college age, when I was at the university. Most of the issues could be solved if the person could just sit down and find a higher purpose. Like that's like one of the biggest issues that I would say is like the basic root cause of all problems is you don't have a purpose. You just genuinely don't know why you're on this dunya, like why you're on this earth.
Just walking aimlessly through life.
You were
whatever.
born into the system, but then no goal
Right.
in mind, no purpose, and that drives why am I doing
so
X,
they're driving like they're pursuing a degree and they might be getting all A's, but there's nothing, it's not satisfying because they don't know what this degree is going for. It's a piece of paper, like, okay, I'm going to get a job, now I got a job, now I want a raise, now I want a higher position, okay, and then what, there's this constant like rat race.
You're chasing something, but you're right, but you need a purpose. Yeah.
And you don't know what this is. Like, there's nothing wrong with chasing like things in this dunya, like to pursue work and pursue degrees and money and whatnot.
If it has a higher purpose.
What's the higher purpose?
It serves the higher purpose.
Exactly.
Exactly.
It's very profound.
Yeah.
Thank you
You're
for sharing that and for saying that.
Yeah.
Alhamdulillah. With that, I hope y'all enjoyed this episode. If y'all did, give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe. Make sure you leave any comments down below, anything you want to maybe ask Emma, and we can pass that along. And maybe on another format, we can answer those questions and bring you back and to answer more or anything like that. I'm one of your hosts, Mustafa Talib.
I'm one of your hosts, Abdurrahman Talib.
And I'm one of your hosts, Ayman Talib.
And we'll see you guys in the next one. Assalamu alaikum.
Peace.